Greetings! My name's Joe Bob, and I'm very pleased. And welcome back to Crimson Gray. Last time, we managed to get this lovely lady a modicum of professional help. And we had a very nice date, which unfortunately went a bit awry at the end. It's not all sunshine and roses. So, Sunday was a miserable slog through every second. John gave up on accomplishing anything whatsoever and just lay in bed feeling worse about himself. He fell asleep early and woke up in the early morning. Not feeling better, that was impossible after a day wallowing in himself. But suddenly his energy was back. And he needed it, because he hadn't accomplished anything he needed to do over the weekend. He set to work feverishly on Monday's homework. By the time he needed to go to school, his eyes were gritty and his good mood was gone. But he was ready, high functioning. John sighed and headed to school. He hadn't gotten very far before, without warning, Lizzie was walking beside him. "Good morning, John." "Morning. Are you alright, Lizzie?" "I spent yesterday thinking. I've come to some conclusions." "So? What did you conclude?" "For such a long time, the most I could imagine was being near you, talking to you, but now I see that's not enough. You have to be protected. I have to do it." "Lizzie, what they said to you, it made me so angry. I wanted to kill them. Then you'd be safe." "Wait, you didn't?" "No, I didn't. Because you have to be protected from me, too." "What?" "Since I took the medicine, I see things differently. I don't like it, but I understand better now. I don't want you to be afraid of me, John. I'll protect you, no matter what." She seemed sad, but so sincere. What was he supposed to say to something like that? "I don't rightly know. That's progress, I think. That's a level of self-awareness that's rarely seen in people in general, but especially in people like this. That's admirable, really, as long as you don't take it too far. I don't want you killing yourself or anything like that. But yeah, I think she realized that she needs to restrain her impulse of it if she wants to protect me from herself. That's good, I think. "You don't need to say anything. Don't worry. Please don't worry. I'll protect you. That's all I can do. And yet, look at those eyes. They worry me. Oh well, nothing for it now. I had a really good time on Saturday. I mean it. I'm glad to see you happy too." "John is so kind. Too kind. I'll see you later." She rushed away too quickly, leaving John completely uncertain what to think. Yeah, that makes two of us. In some ways, she seemed more stable, yet that wasn't a complete comfort. Lizzie was still carrying her knife. I carry around a knife. It's useful to have. On Tuesday, John and Lizzie ate lunch together as if everything was normal, and in some bizarre way, it really was. In other words, you're feeling strangely regular, so to speak. Perhaps due to the medication, she seemed so much more stable than before. She was sweet and kind at all times, always considerate and affectionate. That's what Yet there was the occasional moment when he saw a hint of something feral in her eyes. He worried about what she would be capable of if she thought it was necessary. Well, who knows? Maybe it will be necessary, and that something feral will come in handy. I know that. Never mind. But all in all, John was happier than he had been in a long time. His classmates even stopped messing with him about Lizzie, though he wasn't sure if that was because she seemed normal or because they were afraid of her. A bit of column A, a little column B. Yet he wasn't, not really. He had a hard time believing that anyone could really love him, yet it seemed that Lizzie truly did. If anything, he worried that he could never love her back that intensely. He had an appointment scheduled with Mrs. Smythe on Wednesday, yet for once when he walked into her office, he didn't feel like he desperately needed it. Ready for your session today, John? Actually, I'm feeling really good. Maybe we should skip today's. You should know better than that. If you stop the treatment that's making you feel better, you might have another relapse. Have a little fucking tact. God damn it. You're just gonna make him feel, it's gonna ruin his good mood. No, you're right. Sorry. Don't be sorry. Just lie down and take a load off. So, how have you been doing lately? Well, I'm okay, I guess. That's better than most weeks, so it looks like you're making progress. By the way, I've seen you pass with a girl. Are you two dating? I am a little worried that the music suddenly stopped. I feel like this might be more important than it looks. Yes, we're dating. Not like I want to keep her secret or something. Even if this Mrs. Smythe concerns me. That's probably good for you. You need more relationships. But I have to ask, have the two of you been intimate? What? How can you ask that? I'm not teasing you. This is a very serious question. Why do you want to know? You better not be leading up to giving me a lecture about safe sex or abstinence or anything. So, should I take that as a no? You should take that as a fuck off. Yes, I mean, no. We haven't done anything like that. It's good to hear that you're at least expressing interest. Koitek got back to me about Eurozepam, and it's still decades from viability, so we don't have a solid option for libido issues. Can we talk about something else? Anything else? Sorry to make you uncomfortable, John, but I do need to be concerned about your welfare in all respects. To that end, I need to ask one more question. Has the girl ever displayed any strange behavior? Erratic tendencies? What the fuck kind of question is that? Why the hell are you pushing me on this? What? Yeah, what the fuck kind of question is that? Don't get offended. Too late. I'm just trying to be concerned for your welfare. Why are you even thinking to ask these questions? Much less the way you're phrasing them. You've never asked questions like that about any of my other friends. Good fucking good fucking point, John. I mean, I didn't know that, so I would, but yeah. I'm not being rude, John. Yes, you are. This is important. You see, I looked up that girl's records. Excuse you did what? And to my surprise, I actually knew her mother. You knew Lizzie's mother? Yes, Abby Doss took part in one of our early clinical trials. She was one of the women who had to be removed from the study when we learned they had lied about being pregnant at the time. I beg your fucking pardon? Why? First of all, why do you care so much about this girl? Why are you looking into this girl so much? Secondly, why like delving into her fucking records? Thirdly, why are you disclosing fucking private clinical trial information to me? This is supposed to be like under confidentiality and shit. Yeah, I'm not the most familiar with the way clinical trials function, but I'm the confidentiality and everything, but I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to be delving into the records and disclosing their contents to some random kid. I mean, shit, even if that was legal, it's severely morally, not even questionable, just straight up wrong. Just clearly unethical. All of this is, well, especially if you weren't even one of the people involved in the original clinical trials. Though you might have been, but either, anyways. This is all very concerning, and that's not even that's even without getting into the fact that why the fuck are you doing any of this to begin with? Jesus Christ. I mean, I know people, I know people prefer, psychiatrists and such that really care about their patients. I think this is caring a bit too much. Maybe she was right about you trying to be away from her or some shit. Which, I don't know about that, but there's clearly something below board, so to speak, going on here. Plus, I thought she displayed addictive tendencies. I understand she began abusing prescription painkillers later in life too. The poor girl probably had a hard childhood. So anyway, I just hope that the girl turned out alright. Any drugs taken while someone is in utero can have permanent long-term impacts, so I'm glad the girl turned out normal. Yeah. Moving on, you seem so much better. I assume the issue of emotional grayness took care of itself? Yeah, of course. Mrs. Smythe seemed so positive, he couldn't bring himself to tell her the truth. Because despite the general improvement in his life, that aspect of it had not. Lizzie was a single spot of color in his world, but the rest was even grayer than before. Yeah, well, all you need is love and all that. If the whole world turns gray or vanishes entirely, at least you'll have her. She's certainly not going to leave you anytime soon. As long as she doesn't take it on herself to protect you a bit too proactively. I'm not even The rest of their session passed in a grey blur. When it was over, John was in a strange mood. He felt a little better, but not much. Usually after a therapy session, he floated in an empty tranquility, but now his mind was racing. He impatiently sat through his next class, but his mind was on what Mrs. Smythe had said about Lizzie's mother. Could that be part of the reason for her instability? Maybe. When he had a free period, John headed straight to the library and tried to look up past incidents. It was hard to find information on Koitek's old trials, but when he eventually gave in and looked at the microfilm, he actually found some relevant articles. He knew that Lizzie had been born in 1972, so he was able to skim back to around the time she had been born. He actually found the birth announcement in the local paper easily, But for the rest, he was left searching aimlessly through shitty local articles. And then, all at once, it was easy. There was a series of articles that took his research from a boring whim to something that had him on the edge of his seat. Apparently, before it was called Koitek, the company had been called Pharmavax. They'd rebranded after a series of drug recalls had ruined their reputation. Ah, yes, the classic. Oh, our reputation is in the dumpster. Let's rename ourselves and avoid and get off scot-free. God, that ought to be illegal. Anyways, unfortunately, the government will never give justice when it comes to situations like this, not where it really counts. Justice is often the purview of other parties. I should know. John sat back, unable to read any further. Was that really the explanation? It felt so cheap. It was easy to presume that Lizzie's mother had been involved in one of the recalled Pharmavax trials, and her unborn child must have suffered the consequences. Could that really have unbalanced Lizzie this way? If so, that meant this was no phase she was going through. If her early development had been altered, she was probably this way for life. Guess she's just gonna find a way to live with it. Anyways, unbalances in your neurological condition are often without cure, but there are ways to manage them. You can have a life that's not too shabby. In some ways, perhaps even better than normalcy. Yet the second emotion he felt was anger. Anger that Mrs. Smythe or anyone else could think Lizzie was just some freak chemical accident. It was too much like the scorn that had been heaped on him for his depression. Whatever her problems, Lizzie was a person who deserved respect. Help, but respect before anything else. Yeah. It's hard to argue with your assessment. Depression quickly followed on the heels of his anger. Yeah. Even if she can never get better, whatever that means. Well. Anyways. Unable to deal with any more of those thoughts, John just walked out without even replacing the microfilm. In some ways, perhaps she's better like this. Perhaps she's better. Perhaps I prefer her like this. He drifted through the rest of the day, still stewing over what he'd learned. At times, he could almost convince himself that this was a good thing. If drugs had unbalanced Lizzie, maybe they could balance her again. He could almost imagine them together, helping each other, maybe even getting married. When she passed him in the hallway, her eyes lit up, not in mere elation, but with a burning intensity. And in that moment, John was sure that Lizzie couldn't be cured. The question was, did he want her to be? I think you know my answer to that. Several days later, as they were leaving after school, Lizzie caught up with him, an odd look on her face. John, I'm so happy. Really? I spent so long just watching you, imagining what it would be like to say hello, to hear you say my name, for you to look at me. Now we can actually talk like this. It's like a dream. A wonderful dream I never want to end. I'm happy I met you too, Lizzie. This past week has been fun. Say, how is the nilazine working out for you? No unpleasant side effects? It's wonderful. Thank you so much for giving it to me. Giving it to me. Well, I hope we can find you some more once this dose runs out. Some drugs you can renew week to week, but I don't know about this one. It could be a pain. Oh no, I wouldn't want you to go to any trouble for me. That's misspelling. But it's helping, right? I want you to be able to have more if you want it. That's so sweet. But it's not necessary. It helped me understand our relationship clearly. I don't need it anymore. Huh. Interesting. So as if the drugs gave her a change in perspective that helped her improve her mental state, but not something that she needs to continue. Perhaps not even something she wants to continue. Maybe she's even gone off the meds already. Well, if they've helped her, I mean, most drugs you don't want to be taking your entire life after all. So, this is for the better, if it's really helped. But John, we've been dating since you accepted my confession, but we've only done normal things. I love being with you, every single moment, but can we do something more romantic? They might as well. People already thought of them as dating, and she seemed so sweet for so long. What was the worst that could happen? I'd tell him off for tempting fate, but I don't believe in such nonsense. I tempt fate all the time. I make fate my bitch. Yeah, let's do it. Please? Geez, she's getting really torn up about it. We have a lot of options, considering that we have all of next week off. Almost as if she wasn't even expecting me to say yes. She's someone so confident. It's a bit tragic to see her so insecure about it. Hopefully I can change that. We don't have to wait that long. How about we plan something for Friday night? I don't have a car to pick you up, but I can take you to a nice restaurant. Ah, yes! Good then. It's a plan. Friday. She would still have a day or two of medication left on Friday. John figured she would stay stable. Maybe the date would leave her happy enough that she'd change her mind about staying on her meds. No matter what mistakes her mother made, maybe Lizzie could be stable with the right treatment. John really thought this could work out between them. I'm glad you've stopped beating yourself up over your ulterior motives. Wow! John, this place is so nice! As nice a place as they'll let high school kids in, with only a few days for reservation anyway. When I asked for a romantic place, I never dreamed it would be this romantic. I'm not dressed up enough for this. This is the kind of place you take someone to propose. Just so it's clear, I'm not gonna propose. I know that, silly. I'm just really happy it's so romantic. John could only hope that the place would be nice. All he knew about it was that his parents said it was nice back when they were together. Aww, taking her to the place that your parents went. That is romantic. Doesn't look like much, but then... Wow. The background, they're a bit minimalistic anyways. They entered, and Lizzie was delighted by everything. The decor, the menu, the lighting, the food. Or maybe she was just really delighted with one thing. The event itself. Fortunately, the staff seemed to find her adorable instead of disturbing. So John found himself relaxing. Yeah. Even when they were just chatting idly, Lizzie was nice to be around. Funny. Midway through the meal, he realized that Lizzie was resting her hand on the table. She wasn't necessarily inviting it, but if he stretched, he thought he could put his hand on top of hers. Do you even need to ask? Lizzie's eyes went wide when he touched her, for a moment just staring as if she couldn't believe it. But after a moment, she gave him a brilliant smile and laced her fingers through his. Okay, he hadn't meant to do that, but John decided he could just awkwardly hold her hand while they ate. That certainly seemed to be Lizzie's intention. She actually wasn't getting a lot eaten, since she didn't talk with her mouth full, and listened rapidly whenever he talked. But at least she seemed to be having fun. Yeah, the food isn't exactly the main event. Anyways. After a while, Lizzie patted at her mouth with her napkin and sighed in satisfaction. She didn't let go of his hand, though. She might never let go. We might have to walk like we're Siamese twins for the rest of our lives. Oh, that was wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Yeah, that it was. Oh, and the restaurant was great too. Yeah, it's all really good. Not the food, the date! Oh, but I've made you talk so much. You haven't gotten to eat very much. Are you planning on feeding me? That's okay, No, I'll be quiet and watch while you eat. How about you talk while I eat? So Lizzie, how about you tell me where you live? Oh, it isn't too special. Just a house. Do you live with someone? I know not your parents, but some other relative? No, it's just me. Just in case you want to come over for a booty call. Abby inherited the house, I think, and she didn't manage to sell it off when things got bad. That's your mother, I imagine? Abby? My mother. She was an awful woman. I don't want to talk about her. It's a nice enough house, I suppose. Abby wrecked a lot of it, but I've been able to repair it with money from James. She sounds like a cunt, alright? What little I know of her? Your father? I guess, but he never cared enough to meet me. Abby always complained about him, and the checks didn't always come. But I don't want to talk about that. It's all horrible, isn't it? People who can't even pretend to be in love just tear into each other. Yeah. Perhaps that's why you're a bit more, stable than some yanderes and don't intend on tearing into me. You understand that that's not exactly conducive to love. That's not what I want. Not at all. When I fell in love with you, I knew it would last forever. Wouldn't it be nice to get a house for us to get a house together? Maybe even build one? Oh, so many choices. I can't decide. Yeah. The latter is quite a romantic notion, building our own house together. I mean, that's what I did. Me and my wife, plus a few friends, getting together to build a nice little house off in the wilderness. Nice, lovely woods behind us. Some small fields where we plant our herbs and grow our mushrooms and ferment our wine. Mushroom wine, of course. Anyways. But I want it to be something we choose together, not something we inherit. Some place where we want to live together forever. Maybe a big house, big enough that it can have lots of nice windows, but also rooms inside where no one can see us. And maybe a fountain? Lizzie giggled and squirmed in her seat, as if she couldn't contain herself. Her fingers in his gripped so tightly that it almost hurt. But now I'm just saying things. None of those things really matter. The only thing in our house that I'll care about is you. My jaw hurts from smiling so much. It was the longest he had yet gotten her to talk about herself or her goals. And while it was still pretty focused on him, he didn't mind hearing the details. That's a very nice image, Lizzie. And so are you, Lizzie. Ah, I'm glad you think so. And you finished your food. This has been wonderful, but can we go now? Can we? Only slightly worrying about what she was thinking, John paid the bill, trying not to wince, and then they left the restaurant. They got into the bus, and Lizzie never let go of his hand the entire time. he began to wonder when she was actually going to actually let go. And that was when she leaned her head against his shoulder. This feels so nice. Yes, it does. Really? You enjoyed tonight? I did. It's not often that I hear you talk about things you want. Other than, me. It felt ridiculous to say that, like some kind of boast. And a second later, he realized that it might just be exacerbating her problem, or at least making light of it. But Lizzie just considered his words thoughtfully, then gave a slow nod. I've always wanted to know everything about you, John. I'm glad you want to know about me. John, would you like me less if I stopped taking the medicine? Oh, that's an important question. Shit, what are you supposed to say to that? Yeah. You said it. John desperately racked his brain for a good answer. I like you, Lizzie. I like the person you really are. Is the person you are now the person you really are? What do you mean? I mean, when I get depressed, I don't feel like myself. Medicine might change me, but it's just to change me back to myself. But it's not who you naturally are. Does that matter? I mean, we get to choose who we are. Otherwise, we're not really people, just animals. So, where are you, Lizzie? Who are you, Lizzie? You seem like a nice person, now that I've gotten to know you. Is this not who you want to be? Did you feel better before taking the medicine? Do you like me tonight? Tonight was wonderful, but I'm not suggesting I didn't like you before. Really, John, don't worry about it. I love you, no matter what. Now, would you like to see my house? Ooh. I get the feeling that wasn't exactly the answer she was hoping for. On the other hand, she's inviting me back to her house, so... John froze, not sure how to take the question. Then again, Lizzie had already seen his house, so maybe she just wanted to open up. He said he liked to hear her talk about herself. After all, she was actually offering to let him into her life a little more, if you know what I mean. It would be stupid of him to turn it down. Sure, Lizzie, I'd love to see it. Oh, I'm sure you will. Absolutely sure. Slightly ominous. He planned to take her to her stop, just to be gentlemanly, but now John found himself getting off at the same place. Lizzie eagerly set off from the bus stop, looking back to make sure he was following. In the end, she led him to a small house that's, looks like it's tilting and it's falling into a sinkhole. It was a cozy little thing, much warmer and more pleasant than he'd expected. Here it is! Huh, it's cozy. You don't need to flatten my house, silly. All that matters is that we'll be there. At least 3 stories. Nice. She led him inside and showed him around. Though it was a very strange and erratic tour. He wondered if this was the first time she'd ever showed someone inside her home. Although the way the stairs are structured brings back bad memories. Bad memories of pathologic. Anyways. The inside of the house was less cozy than the outside. Not because of the house itself, but because of how bare it was. A few rooms looked as though they'd been used, but the rest looked like they were out of a catalog. It mimicked a house, but it didn't look like a place where anyone lived. The only thing that didn't match the catalog image was a heavy metal door off a side hallway. Lizzie didn't make the slightest reference to it, or even seem to notice it existed. Is that where she I don't know, keeps her stalker shrine? Or where she keeps the remains of the body? This picture, is it your mother? Oh, that. I forgot I'd even had that. Lizzie didn't seem to care, but John was curious enough to pick up the frame and look closer. He was surprised to find his hand immediately coated in dust. That had to be years of dust. How could Lizzie have lived here for so long and never even disturbed a picture sitting on a table like this? In any case, you could see where Lizzie got a good looks from. But other than that, she and her mother didn't look very much alike. There's something in Lizzie's eyes and posture that was just lacking in her mother. And really, I wouldn't even say she got a good looks from her. I mean, sure, her this general structure of her body, those and those tracts of land, so to speak, are certainly certainly probably similar to her mother, but well, as I was mentioned, that something in her eyes, her posture, her demeanor, her everything, you know, that's what really makes her so attractive. Otherwise, she'd feel far more generic, I suppose. As I say, the sexiest organ is the brain. She was on the beach with some man. Neither of them looked like they were enjoying themselves. Maybe he was imagining things, but he could practically see the growing enmity between them. Absurdly, his mood began to decline. It was just a random relationship from people he didn't know. It had nothing to do with him. Yet the idea of people producing a child from a relationship they obviously cared so little about sent him into a spiral. Hey, at least you can say that that'll that probably won't ever happen to you two. As weird as your relationship is, it's a far cry from that. John? John, you shouldn't be sad. Our house wouldn't have anything like this in it. Huh? No, I was just, Don't worry, I want to be around you every second of every day of forever. But I know that wouldn't work when we grow up. I can get a job. I'm good at lots of things. It'll be sad being apart, but we can call each other at work and send each other things. And when we get home and see each other again after so long, it will feel so good. Yeah. Does that sound nice? Maybe if we're lucky, maybe we can even get a job where we can work from home. Or barring that, get a job where we can work together. Her picture of the future actually sounded nice. Lifted a little of the cloud in his head. I mean, that's what I, with my wife. I mean, my wife. My wife doesn't. Well, I guess she does work, but anyways. But he couldn't find a way to put that into words, and so he said nothing. Undeterred, Lizzie encouraged him into the living room and pushed him down onto the large couch. It hadn't seen much use, but it was free from dust and gloriously soft. You stay here, okay? Give me a moment to change out of this. John swallowed and stayed where he was. He didn't have a lot of experience, but he'd heard his friends talk about their exploits. He thought a lot of it was lies, but was there something to what they said? If Lizzie really came out wearing lingerie or something else crazy, or nothing at all, he didn't know what he would do. He honestly didn't. I know what you'd do. Her. Part of him that had been asleep for a long time liked that idea, fantasized about what might happen. Another part of him was incredibly nervous to even consider the idea of being closer to her. He couldn't keep sitting there. His nerves would destroy him. Instead, John got up and began to look around the house more carefully. And she did say to just stay right there, but, well, what's a relationship without a little snooping, right? The dustiest part of the house seemed to have remnants of Lizzie's mother. Okay, I don't like that change in music. At least he didn't. It reminds me of that one, one joke, the one meme I saw of, Anakin from the Star Wars prequels having the ability to hear the music in the background. At least he didn't think Lizzie would be into cheap little glass figurines. You never know. Opening one of the rooms, he discovered that it was an unused bathroom. He was about to go when he spotted another picture frame sitting beside the bed. This one featured Lizzie as a child, sitting on her mother's lap. It struck him so strongly that he immediately went to look at it more carefully, not caring that his hand got even dustier. The eyes are obscured. Dude, angle the photo. The glare is getting in the way. Yeah, I guess they do look pretty similar. But yeah, again, Lizzie just looks so much more attractive because of the way she is, you know? I mean, not in this image, I'm not a pedophile. You know what I mean. Lizzie's mother was glowing and obviously proud of her daughter, while Lizzie ignored her entirely. No, not just ignored her. There was a flat emptiness to her eyes, as if they weren't even related. It didn't seem to have stopped her mother in the picture, but the distance between them was agonizing. Why would anyone keep a picture like that, much less frame it? John stared at it a while longer, then set it down and left the room. What could have happened to Lizzie, to give Lizzie those eyes? Was she born that way due to her mother's mistakes? Or had her mother driven that wedge between them? Well, you know the old thing of like nature versus nurture? Well, it's a false dichotomy. It's actually more nature through nurture, as in there's a lot of things that people love, like due to genetics and stuff, but it's their environment that causes those things to actually grow. Like, think of it like a seed, you know? Sure, it could grow, like you could have a whole farm full of various different seeds, and depending on which ones you actually take care of, which ones you are given the environment needed to grow, well, it'll be a very different field in a few years' time. Her mother had looked kind in the picture, but John knew all too well that the worst parents could try to act like the most loving. When Lizzie had spoken of her mother earlier, the terms had been negative. He wondered briefly if there could have been abuse of some kind. Most likely, if not physical abuse, or then maybe verbal, or maybe just neglect. That's also a form of abuse, after all, and can be some of the most damaging. I should know. It was a painful thought, but maybe it would explain Lizzie's desperation for love. Or maybe he was making up bullshit. He hated it when people made up sob stories about his condition, after all. Yeah. Just remember, when you assert, you make an ass out of the emergency response team. John checked the next door, but it was locked or jammed, so instead he ambled back to the living room. Lizzie was probably almost ready. He wanted to be waiting for her when she was done. She finally emerged, wearing similar clothes that looked slightly more comfortable. John wasn't sure if he was a little relieved or disappointed. It wasn't lingerie, but he didn't mind seeing her dressed casually either. Lizzie smiled at the expression and came to sit beside him on the couch. Not sure I can tell the difference. Lizzie smiled at his expression and came to sit beside him on the couch. I wish I would have worn a dress for our date, but I like this better. Dresses are nice, but they're uncomfortable, you know? Yes, I do, but I'm not certain John would. He hasn't exactly... I'm not certain he's ever worn one. Oh, actually, I don't. I'm just being silly. They really are uncomfortable, though. I like it when you look at me. Whether I'm trying to be beautiful or not, it makes me happy. She slid closer to him, apparently unaware of how much of her body was touching his. No, she was probably even more aware than he was. You make me happy. I'm glad I'm with you too, Lizzie. I'm so glad to hear you say that. John, I want you to stay here tonight. With me. We're doing it, boys! We're doing it, boys! We got... All systems are a go! Together. 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 As the night took a sharp turn, John did his best not to panic. He had not thought the date would actually go there, much less in such an obsessive way. Fortunately for you, I did. But did he have to panic? Lizzie was usually this obsessive, and she had brought it up in a mostly stable way. Besides, they were dating. It wouldn't be strange for them to sleep together. And yet, the look in her eyes... John? Well, well, I would choose the top option, but, well, I'm playing this for YouTube. I'll just come back to this later, alright? This is probably the one that, the option that leads to the better ending anyways. I know how these fucking games operate. I'll definitely be coming back to that later, though. Lizzie, I want to be with you too, but now just isn't the right time. What? What's wrong with the time? Well, you see, I'm recording this for YouTube, and they've got some really fascist policies about, uh, about lewd content, you know? We're not... Well, I'm not in a good place right now. I want to get my head straight. Which head? I'm afraid that my depression would get the better of me. I wouldn't be able to really be with you. I want our first time to be right. Yeah, depression can lead to issues with performing, as can depression medication, ironically. Which can lead to, which could actually lead to depression medication worsening depression in some people for exactly that reason. I hope you're not upset. Honestly, I want to keep dating you. That's okay. I understand. I don't like those eyes. Well, yes, I do, but I don't like what they might mean. But I still don't want you to go. Will you stay a little longer? You won't try to force anything? I understand it's not the right time for that now. Then, I've had a nice time so far. I feel I can stay a little longer. Here, let me get you some tea. He was left sitting awkwardly by himself, wondering if he was completely insane. Did he seriously just turn down sex with a girl like Lizzie? Believe me, I'm already regretting it too. Ugh. Hopefully this will be for the best. Believe me, this hurts me almost as much as it hurts you. I hope I'm not guiding you wrong. John wasn't even sure he'd done the right thing. She might be a little unstable, but she was completely in control of herself. It wasn't like it would have been anything wrong with it, or so he told himself. Yeah, but tell that to YouTube. But the idea still made part of him deeply uneasy. He wasn't sure why, but he hoped this feeling wouldn't last long. Maybe the tea would calm his nerves. Here you go, John. I brewed a cup for each of us. Thank you. It was just a little sweet, so we took another sip. John usually didn't enjoy tea, but right now the mild taste was exactly what he needed. I prefer tea with a stronger taste to it. I make my I have this personal blend that I make, bit of made up of Earl Grey and a few others. It's quite good. I've also have you ever had this one tea that was like this one tea that I had a few times, which is like designed to taste like root beer. It's really interesting. I'm glad you took this so well, if that makes sense. Of course, John. I want us to be together forever and ever. I wouldn't want to force anything on you before everything is ready. Well, thank you. I think later. I think that's a new expression. I think I like it. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I just want this to work out too. Yes, I understand. I understand that people have hurt you. You're too kind for this world. You need my help. That's kind of you. I'm glad to have you with me. Depression isn't something that's cured, you know? It stays with you. You learn to deal with it. I'm sorry, I'm not feeling so... Wait, Lily, did you put something in my tea? It's okay, John. Relax, I'll take care of you. Oh, god damn it. His vision faded out and his body went slack. The last thing he felt before he slipped away entirely was Lizzie drawing his head down to rest on her lap. Are you... Oh, for fuck's... Well, shit. And just when I thought everything was going well... Damn it. Maybe I should have slept with her. Well, on that lovely cliffhanger, it's time to end the video. And things were going so well. Oh well. Like I said, not everything can be all sunshine and rainbows. There's gonna be backsliding. Well, until next time. I have been Joe Bob, and I'm very peeved. And remember, dislike the video, unsubscribe if you're for some reason subscribed, and leave an nasty comment in the comment section down below. Fuck you all so much for watching, and so long, suckers.
You're gonna be okay, kid.